Vitamin D, one of the three fat-soluble vitamins, as a result of its sequisteroid composition. A sequisteroid, however, is not a steroid, but a derivative of a steroid, in this case, cholesterol. Vitamin D has increasingly become more popular as speculations of its importance in the human body and potential as a cure for many sicknesses and disease states increases. This is because many sicknesses and disease states correlate with low vitamin D levels. So where do we get it from? And how do we know that we have enough? Well, there are two sources. First, it can be ingested through food, like fish, eggs, and meat, and can also be supplemented with vitamin pills. However, we get 90% of our vitamin D by synthesizing it in our skin. Here, 7-dehydrocholesterol is converted to cholecalciferol, or vitamin D3. This reaction is caused by high-energy UVB rays given off by the sun, hence vitamin D being known as the sun vitamin. However, this form of vitamin D is inactive and must travel through the blood to the liver, where it is activated to 25-hydroxyvitamin D. This is the major form of vitamin D found in the blood, and is measured to determine nutritional vitamin D levels, which is arbitrarily recommended to be around 30 nanograms per milliliter. Interestingly, during the cold months of November through February, it is true that the amount of vitamin D UV significantly decreases at higher latitudes, greater than 40 degrees, aka us here in Washington, and thus it is more difficult for us to achieve adequate vitamin D levels. Some doctors in the Pacific Northwest have associated 75% of their patients who are complaining of issues like joint pain and nausea to be vitamin D deficient. However, a study showed that in 30 minutes of UV exposure, the body produces 10,000 to 20,000 individual units of vitamin D, which, if done at least once every week during the warm months of April through October, enough vitamin D will be produced and stored to get one through the winter. Regardless, it's important to check up and make sure that you are either spending some time in the sun synthesizing your own vitamin D or supplementing your body by ingesting vitamin D. Now let's learn about why vitamin D is important by understanding what it does and what irregular vitamin D levels can do. Vitamin D does most of its work by binding vitamin D receptors in the nucleus of cells, preventing the cells from replicating specific genes, thus preventing the production of the proteins that those genes encode for. Vitamin D is known to do this for more than 50 genes in tissues throughout the body. Vitamin D is essential for the efficient use of calcium in the body. Increase in vitamin D concentration in the blood results in a change in gene expression that normalizes blood calcium levels by increasing absorption in the intestines and reabsorption in the kidneys. As a result, if one is vitamin D deficient, they absorb calcium less efficiently in their intestines and kidneys, and in turn do not effectively utilize the calcium to strengthen their bones. This is why many vitamin D deficiency are associated with diseases like osteomalacia and rickets, which are disease states associated with weak and brittle bones. Another activity of vitamin D that has been seen is its inhibition of the proliferation of cells. If true, then sufficient nutritional vitamin D levels can help in preventing malfunctioning cells from uncontrollable splitting and growing, which may help in preventing cancerous tissues from forming. Vitamin D receptors are also found in most cells involved in the immune system, like T cells, aka white blood cells. When binding of the activated vitamin D to the vitamin D receptors occurs, it can improve the function of these cells and ultimately improve the immune system and its ability to destroy viruses. People with low vitamin D levels have been shown to be more susceptible to viruses like the flu and HIV. In addition, vitamin D stimulates the production of leptin in fat cells and insulin in pancreas cells when it binds to their vitamin D receptors. Leptin and insulin are hormones that help regulate energy homeostasis by basically telling the body that it is full and it is time to stop eating. Thus, vitamin D can improve the efficiency of the body in absorbing nutrients and prevent the body from consuming excess. Although it is good to ensure one is not deficient in vitamin D, it is also important to not consume in excess, as it can result in hypercalcemia, where calcium levels are raised in the blood, resulting in malfunctioning of the nervous system and calcium deposits forming in soft tissue. However, vitamin D synthesized in the skin by the sun does not reach toxic levels, as excess is quickly converted to the other forms and used elsewhere in the body. In the end, just like all things, moderation is key. So make sure to get out, get some sun, and get that vitamin D, and you should be on your way to a healthy living.